Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Death is an extremely painful stage for every human being. Even our Prophet, the beloved of Allah, is no exception in undergoing a painful process of death. Why is this so? What can we do to prepare ourselves so that we are able to withstand the pain of death?
Inshallah. Ameen. Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Madad ya sahib al-Saif. This is why we are gathering here. This is why we found a sheikh. This is why we are carrying a turban on top of our heads. This is why we are stepping on our desires, our egos, this dunya and shaitan. Everything that we are doing, when we found a murshid, is to prepare ourselves for death. To prepare ourselves for death. We're carrying a turban on top of our heads. That is our shroud. To remind ourselves of death. We're stepping on our desires and our ego in preparation for death. Because the ego does not live and has no power once we reach to that stage in the grave. Holy Prophet ﷺ went through what he had to go through. There is a wisdom in that. He was sweating so much that his jubbah was wet. Do you think now, Holy Prophet ﷺ, he was suffering because of himself? Think. You think he was feeling pain because of himself, what he did? Think. The beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when the children of Taif threw stones at him that filled up his boots with blood, that he sat down and he poured his shoe and blood was dripping, that Hazrati Jibrail, Mikael, Israfil and Azrael came to him and say, just give us this sign, Ya Rasulullah. We will take the whole Taif and we'll turn it upside down to punish this whole nation. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like His beloved one to even suffer a little bit of a toothache. Why do you think he's undergoing so much pain when he passed? You think it's because of him? No. He went through that because of us. Because of us. He is carrying the pain that his ummah have committed so that we can have ease. Do you think that time when the Sakratul Maut, when the pain of death was reaching to him, he was thinking about himself? He was thinking about us. He was thinking about his ummah. The first words that came out of his mouth when he was born, last words when he passed, first words when he's raised to judgment day is ummati, ummati. He went through because of his ummah. What are we going through? How are we preparing ourselves to meet Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam? If we're still sunk in our own dunya, in our own desires, in our own dirtiness, do you think we're ready to meet the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? No. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His mercy, He has sent the inheritors of the prophets to us to prepare us for that reality. Death, it is a beginning. It is not the end. It is a doorway. And those ones that their whole lives, they are preparing themselves for death. That, like the Turks, they are saying when you go to sleep, to know that death is under your pillow. When you wake up, to know that death is standing right in front of you. That they are waking up and they are praying with that sincere intention, as if that prayer is the last prayer, preparing himself for death, that when he goes to sleep, he is giving his shahadat and say, Ya Rabbi, if it is good for me, take my life. If it is good for me, grant me one more day to be a sincere servant to you. You think that one who's preparing himself for death every day, who's being reminded of death by his shaykh every day, you think that one, when death approaches, it is going to be painful? No. Because that one loves to meet his Lord. And he who loves to meet his Lord loves to meet him. He who loves to meet his Prophet, the Prophet loves to meet him. You are going to be with the one that you love. But those ones who are busy every day just thinking of money, 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 money. Dunya, dunya, desires, desires, everything except for Allah. You think that time when life is being taken away from them, they're going to think about Allah. You think he's being busy 24 hours thinking about dunya. At that time he's going to think about Allah? No. He's going to think about dunya. He's going to think, oh, my children, who's going to take care of me? Oh, my business, now you're going to lose a lot of money. Oh, my wife. Oh, my husband. Oh, my power. Oh, my looks. Oh, my this. Oh, my that. Except for Allah. Yes, that time the death is going to be very, very, very painful for him, because he did not prepare himself for death. Easy. Sufi saying, die before you die. So easy saying, die before you die. What do you know about death? Are we even in 1 year sitting down to meditate, to think, to imagine, now, what if Allah takes my life right now and I cannot breathe? I cannot move. I am in this tight box here on this earth. I cannot call out to my loved ones. They cannot reach to my help. I left everything. Do we even try to sit down to imagine that? If we do, faith is going to increase, definitely. To say, now I'm dead, I finished from everything. There's no way I can reach nothing. I'm cut off from my loved ones. My children that I love so much, I'm cut off from them. I leave them forever. My husband, my wife, my possessions, my wealth, my work, every attachment you have, it is gone. Are we even sitting down to consider that, to think about it? Forget about your own death. Are you sitting down to think, what if you have a loved one, children, husband, wife, mother, father? What if tomorrow I hear that they are dead, they pass? How I'm going to feel? No, don't say that. They say, you're very negative. Isn't that a reality? Isn't death a reality that can reach us at any time? Are we preparing ourselves, if we are preparing ourselves for that, to say, what if now everything that I have is taken away from me? My house is taken away from me. My job is taken away from me. My wife, my children, they're all taken away from me. I have nothing. And you know what? Good morning. You're living in America. American bubble is happening everywhere else in the world. Their loved ones are taken away from them. Their possessions are taken away from them. Their homes are taken away from them. They are more prepared for death than we are. That is a real. If we are thinking that way, slowly, the love and the attachment that we have is going to be balanced out. It's not going to be so much. We imagine. And let me tell you, this is not imagination, this is real. It can happen. Share of any past, isn't it? You think He didn't prepare us to say what's going to happen? You think He didn't prepare us? Years ago, He says it. He said it. He says, what are you going to do if I'm gone? What are you going to do? And that is real. Anything can happen. What are you going to do if I'm gone? If you are gone? Are we going to be stuck? Are we going to cry our eyes out? Or are we going to continue the work, the work? Now, if we are preparing ourselves for that, for the death of our own death, cutting the attachment that is too much, and if we are looking at the deaths of others that are around us, this one that I love, what if tomorrow Allah decides to take him? How is my faith going to be? Is it going to increase or is it going to decrease? Yes, of course we're humans. Yes, of course we're going to feel some sadness. But is that sadness going to bring us closer to Allah? Or is that going to be a doorway for shaitan to enter to cause more confusion? That is something for us to think about. Now, once you start thinking this way, you are going to be prepared for death. Don't worry about that part, the physical pain. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's so much good news too for those ones who are following, especially in the way of the Siddiqul Akbar. Because the Siddiqs, Allah does not give them even a slight pain when the death comes. It is like a hair being pulled out from butter that is going to be so easy. May we be nominees for that kind of passing. But the ease of passing from this world is only for those who have practiced it, who have gone through the pain of separation while they're still living in this world. That they have practiced and rehearsed, they made rehearsal of that. Their attachment to this world, it is very weak. And their attachment to Akhirah and to Allah, it is very strong. The believer, Shaykh Effendi is saying, he is not going to be happy if Allah gives this whole world to him in the morning. He is not going to be happy. And if Allah takes the whole world from him in the evening, he is not going to be sad. The believer is that cypress tree, evergreen tree, that is growing tall and it doesn't change its color for nothing. If the sun shines, it stays the same. The cold and the snow comes, it stays the same. The hypocrites, they are like the squash. When the sun shines, they grow very big. And they spread everywhere. A little bit of cold hits, they just wither and they die. We must practice that. We must think. We must use that intelligence. We will come to understand, inshallah, one day that yes, we don't own anything. Allah owns everything and us. We don't own anything. The children that we have, they do not belong to us. The wealth that we have, they don't belong to us. These are all just amanat. They are trusts. They are entrusted to us. We have to take care, definitely. We have to love, of course. We have to provide, yes. But we cannot make it into an idol into our heart. That's the time. If we still have the idols in our hearts, the death is going to be very, very, very painful. And the angel of death is going to come now in the appearance of some very terrifying creature. And it's going to pull us out with much force and pain. If we are already preparing for the death, angel of death is going to come with the most beautiful face, with the most beautiful smell, and you are going to run to meet him. he looks someone very familiar, like a friend. And he's going to invite you to go to a chef, and he says, to a VIP lounge. You know, VIP lounge. Everybody wants to be VIP, huh? In this world. Nobody is thinking how to be VIP in the hereafter. Waiting area, VIP lounge. Inshallah, these words, they apply to me and to you, to everyone. If you like, take it. If you don't like, leave it. Say he's just yelling at himself. But if you take it, it is going to be a benefit to you. وَمِنَ اللَّهِ تَوْفِيقٍ. May Allah forgive me. Al-Fatiha. Amen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.